me, right? Some of you out there, you knew you needed me to do that. Okay. So today is going to be a personal day for me. I'm going to share something really personal with you. And the reason I share personal stuff is, yes, I like to share personal stuff, but the real reason is so it triggers something in you, right? My story is supposed to ignite your story. That's the real reason. So I've been feeling a little burnt out this winter. I'm not going to go into my litany of complaints, but I just felt burnt out. But I know that no matter what, I have things that help me get through. Spiritual practice. I have a lot of spiritual practice. And don't think that, let's see, let me say this not in a double negative. I'm a minister because I know that my work is going to lift me up. You know, it's like signing up for exercise class. This is my exercise class. My job is my exercise class, my spiritual exercise class. So I have a lot of spiritual help. This year, we started a Paul Selig study group every Saturday morning. We read his work together. That's been a huge lift for me because when you read spiritual, uplifting things together, the energy of the room is more than just me reading by myself. So that was one really awesome thing. I was reminded again to look at the Enneagram. I'm a 4, and all you need to know about 4s is that they're extremely dramatic. And when I look at that, it reminds me not to take myself so seriously, you know, because I'm like, the highs are high, the lows are low, and I can traumatize my life. So knowing I'm a 4 really helps me look at myself. So that helped a lot. Like, oh yeah, it's just me being dramatic. There's a Brene Brown workshop on Netflix. You should all watch it. If you don't have Netflix, you call me up. You can come over to my house and we'll watch it on courage. It is freaking awesome. It also lifted me up, and I realized, you know, I have been courageous in my life. Just because I'm feeling like a dried up Kleenex right now, I have been courageous. Well, everybody should do that. I have a spiritual director. She is an awesome, loving person. I see her a couple times a month, and she's like another person who helps me, reminds me. It's stuff I know. Pretty much she mostly says, why don't you give it to God? Why don't you give it to Spirit? And stuff like that. So that also really helped me. And then my friend Kathy lent me a book that I wanted to read called Destiny of Souls by Newton. And it's a book about a psychiatrist. I think he was a psychiatrist. Anyway, he ended up hypnotizing people, and he's one of those psychiatrists that hypnotize people to go to their childhood, and then they started going to past lives. But then his particular interest was between lives. So he started figuring out a way to hypnotize people to go between lives. That's one of my passions, to read about all that stuff and find out about it, because I do not remember any of that. But I have a sense of it, and I have a knowingness that this is not the first me, this is not my first go around, and that I have an eternal soul. I really have that knowing. And it does give me a bigger perspective. And so I'm reading all these stories, and about how, you know, the first quarter of the book, I'm really liking it, and then I get totally triggered by it because I'm feeling like, you know, a old dried up Kleenex, and I'm totally triggered by, oh my God, I'm wasting this lifetime. Then I get over that, then I get inspired because there's this awesome story, just a tiny little story, a paragraph, about a woman in a life review who, one of her teachers says, oh, you know, yeah, so this lifetime you weren't that courageous. Remember this other lifetime when you were a Native American and you threw yourself in front of a wildcat, and the wildcat killed you, and you saved 2 children. And there's something about that instead of me going to the, oh my God, I haven't thrown myself in front of any wildcats or whatever, it just reminded me that I do have courage in me, and that I'm not that old. This lifetime isn't over. I can go out with a big bang, you know. I can step up just because I'm a little tired or a little burnt out from winter or whatever doesn't mean that I can't make this a fabulous, awesome, uh, just blossoming life, right? I still have time. I am so lucky. I live in this country. I have so many resources. I work in the best job ever with the best people who are sitting in this room right now, and some of them are at home in bed. Well, that's okay. But I have this awesome community. So, one of the things that, and I do a lot of work on myself. So some of the work, just so you know, the work that I really got was um, the way not to get burnt out is to strengthen my boundaries, you know, pay attention, um, say no, do what I'm supposed to do. And I have many, many, many things that give me joy in ministry. So many things. And to focus on that, you know, and instead of I am not the, let's just say sometimes I forget the administrative stuff, and I feel really bad about that. Like, if you don't get a letter you were supposed to, or I got the amount wrong that you gave, or any of those things, or I forgot I don't put your class that you're having on time enough, or I get it wrong. There's stuff like that that really, really bothers me. But I'm just going to ask for some more help. And I'm going to focus on the joyful parts of ministry. I love Sunday. Sunday lights me up. I love Sunday. I love all of you. I love singing, and I don't have to lead the singing, which is really good for all of us. But I get to sing. I love listening, and I don't even have to make coffee here. I mean, there's so many things. I don't have to garden here. Somebody gardens. I have an angel downstairs teaching our children, right? We all have that. And that's because we are together in community. Now, and one more thing that I'm learning to do is learning how to change being a leader from top-down leadership, which quite frankly is the role model they give you even in 2007 in ministerial school. There's a weird little top-down leadership model, and changing that leadership to inviting everybody in to share their gifts. Now, the spiritual principle I want to talk about is actually service. So will you pop up the slides, and we'll see if I can make it work. I have a little slideshow. It's basically, the slideshow is the handout you got. If you didn't get a handout, Julie will give you one, if anybody didn't get one of these handouts. Okay. Awesome. If you look in the back, you can see the picture that goes with it. The picture isn't showing up there, but there's a really cool. Julie's going to pass out all those handouts. These are a bunch of quotes about service that kind of rung my chimes. All right. Whoa. There is no, is that the first one? Yeah. Your own self-realization is the greatest service you can render the world. Okay? Just bear that in mind. Your own self-realization is it, because we will return to that thought by Ramana Maharshi. He said that. By the way, there is no them. That's the theme. There is no them. It's all us. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. What I want you to do is contemplate these and think about which ones you like and which ones you don't like. Everybody can be great because anybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love. You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. Ooh, that one. That one scorches my little backside a bit. In the end, the number of prayers we say may contribute to our happiness. Ooh, but the number of prayers we answer may be that of even greater importance. I don't know what your destiny will be, but one thing I know, the only ones among you who will be really happy are those who have sought and found how to serve. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. And I should keep naming these names. That's Janice Stanfield. Miss no single opportunity of making some small sacrifice. Here by a smiling look, there by a kindly word, always doing the smallest thing and doing it all for love. Life is for service. Mr. Rogers. When you are able to shift your inner awareness to how you can serve others, and when you make this the central focus of your life, you will be in a position to know true miracles in your progress toward prosperity. Huh. If I could give you information of my life, it would be to show how a woman of very ordinary ability has been led by God in strange and unaccustomed paths to do his service, what he has done in her. And if I could tell you all, you would see how God has done all, and I nothing. I have worked very, very hard, that is all, and I have never refused God anything. That's from Florence Nightingale. Okay. Service which is rendered without joy helps neither the servant nor the served. But all other pleasures and possessions pale into nothingness before service which is rendered in a spirit of joy. All right, and keep that one up there. That is the one that rings my chimes. I want you to look over those and find out, like, what is your message of service today? This is my message, and I'm going to share about it to you. So it's our message for today, but you may have another quote that speaks to you. It's that whole thought, service rendered without joy. If I have any resentment in me, you are not going to like what I give you. You are not going to want me to show up with even the teeniest little bit of resentment. I need to be giving whatever I give from absolute joy. And here is the good news, right? Spiritually, think about this. There is the thought that we are human beings and we have a spark of divinity in us, right? I say that, but I want you to think about it in a different way. You are the oneness, you are the source, the Christ, that is expressing as you. You see the difference? I'm going to pick on Brian because he sat in the front. He has a pretty green shirt on. So the oneness didn't, Brian wasn't born and a little bolt of light didn't come in and make him a part of God. The oneness incarnated as Brian. And the perfect expression of God as Brian is different than the perfect expression of God as Kathy sitting next to him. You see that? The perfect expression of you is really uniquely you, and it should be fun and joyful. That's the awesome good news. Like in the Spirit Seeker Fair yesterday, there were tons of different people rendering service in the way they render service. And I would guess that most of them really got joy out of it. Now, there's stuff I wouldn't do if you paid me. I love getting massage, but I can probably sustain 30 seconds of a good shoulder massage, 30 seconds. There are people who have the magic touch and the joy of, it is their joy to heal people through massage. Like Sophia, she's sitting right there, by the way. There are people who are able to, I always visit a couple people, new people, every time we have a Spirit Seekers Fair. There are people who have messages, kind of the way Kathy was talking about, she's teaching us to pay attention. There's people you can sit with who have some kind of a channel to a spiritual message for you, and you sit with them and, they touch your heart somehow, that they give you a message that you needed, from whatever you needed. There's people, and that's their joy. There's people who love to sell the rocks and the, the incense and the cool stuff. There's a guy who was here. He takes copper wire and makes it into really amazing stuff. I think we have a little pyramid in there. I'll show you later. It's like, that's his joy. That is not my joy. I would hurt my hands for one thing. And it just is not my joy. But I want to be on fire here. I want to ignite a darned fire in each and every one of you about what is joyful for you to give and why I'm so excited. See, we are on the verge of transforming our community into a place where we each contribute what brings us joy. See, instead of what we don't want to do, what we really, really want to do, what totally rings our chimes, which makes us happy. And here's the other thing, we're here to help each other do it, we're going to help each other do it. I'm going to show you 2 things that have been making my life better. I did 2 paintings. And the reason that I'm going to show you is not as much as I love you, I do not care if you like them or not. And that is the point. The point is I'm going to show you 2 paintings because that's part of what brings me joy and what is igniting my soul. And it's in order to spur you to think of a way, and also because they don't really look like things, that's why I want to show them to you. So you wouldn't look at it and say, wow, I know what that is. But it's an expression of my spirituality and my joy. Here we go. Now, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about him, just a tiny little bit. All right, this one is called Good Friday. It is about broken hearts that crack us open. It is about betrayal. It is the loss before the resurrection. It is real. And consider how an expression of your broken heart can make way for empathy, compassion, tenderness, and new love, new life, rising on stepping stones of our former self. And then this is called New Zealand Night. Now, here's an interesting thing about New Zealand. A long time ago, before anybody lived in New Zealand, or before the people who live there now lived there, New Zealand did not have honeybees. And so they had, in order to, the way that flowers got pollinated was they were white. And when the moonlight shone on the flowers, the moths were attracted to them and pollinated them. So this is about how life will be ever creative. The flowers became white to reflect the moonlight, to attract the moths for creation. Consider how life can come up with a way, a beautiful, magical way. So this is about our community today, how we show up and contribute, how we help each other be God, source, the Christ, the Buddha, the oneness, expressing as our unique self, different from everybody else, and in a joyful way that's fun. Okay, can everybody here say, no more stuff I don't want to do? Come on, I want everybody put their hand up. I am not going to do anything else I don't want to do. Let's together. I am not going to do anything else I don't want to do. That was, you said it. I heard you. So, don't give up in despair. Instead, we are going to take the path of courage and create our beautiful city, Unity Center of Des Moines. Let's take an offering for unity. I invite you to take your